Hello everyone, welcome back to Kann Farms. Last episode we just finished up baling our grass fields, and today we are going to be harvesting our barley. Barley is an important crop for us. We use it to feed the chickens. It's going to produce our straw for cows that we get in the future. And eventually we're going to turn the extra into flour. So it's one of our key pieces. Obviously the grass from last episode will be silage and hay for the cows, and sugar cane will be our sugar. Other than that, there's not a lot more that we require fields for. So it's a pretty easy farm to manage, and we don't need a huge amount of land. Right now we're setting up a little bit early. I do have 2-day months turned on. I could easily do this with 1-day months. I was mainly thinking that there might be times when I have too much going on, or I couldn't plan out the calendar. But especially with this farm, I found that I don't have to struggle with that. We're just not growing that big of a variety of crop. So it's always been very manageable. We got really lucky with this harvester. Right as we were about to expand and plant the barley fields, this popped up in the used market. So we were able to get this, and we did have to buy the header at full price, but it was worth it. It's a very, very, very quick process. This is our second year with the barley, and it takes minutes to get everything harvested. The first year there was supposed to be rain in the second half of the day, but we finished harvesting by 9 a.m. game time, and it was done easy peasy lemon squeezy. We were still baling in the rain, but it was not an issue. We didn't lose any harvest because of it. These corners here do get a little tight, so I always do these manually. I will bring in the AI to finish up most of the field. That way I'm able to bale at the same time and get this job completed fairly quickly. It's actually faster than when I do the grass cutting and baling. I actually really like harvesting the barley, so I'm excited for future playthroughs when I am using more arable land and harvesting a lot more of the cash crops and similar. I brought it up in the last episode, but I'm planning on a charcuterie and wine farm for the next one. So I'll have to have pigs for all our cured meats on the charcuterie board. and pigs are exciting because they require so many different crops. But I just like seeing the barley moving, and I don't know, it's just fun seeing these large swaths of straw get dropped behind the combine, and yeah, it's just a lot more satisfying than cutting grass, which I've done a lot of in this farm. It doesn't produce as much money, but it's a lot more entertaining. I chose barley for its high yield per hectare. It's going to be easy to feed a full pen of chickens for a year, and it has a pretty good ratio in the grain mill for making flour. These two fields combined feed the pen for an entire year, plus should produce enough flour for 8 years worth of flour in cakes. Or what I'm planning on doing is 1 year of 8 bakeries making cakes. It's just a very versatile crop, plus it produces the straw. I was thinking about wheat, but for whatever reason, wheat just is lackluster. It's got lower yields, doesn't produce as much flour. Oats produce a lot of flour but don't provide any straw. So it was just a pretty easy choice. I was looking at pigs, and again, they require barley or wheat as one of their kind of choices, their go-betweens as the base food. And I again don't have an argument for the wheat. So if anyone knows more about this than I do, I'd really like to hear why someone should be choosing wheat in their fields. I could see maybe if it lines up in their calendar better for planting and harvesting times. I haven't looked in that much detail, but I otherwise don't really know. Now that we've got this first pass done with the harvester, we'll let the AI do most of the rest. We'll bring this first load and feed the chickens, and then drop the rest off at the silo. Hopefully we'll be able to use it soon. Last year was our first barley harvest, and we just sold the rest of the barley off, and I think it's in December is the best price. Then we'll just run over. We'll grab the truck and the baler, and we'll get going on that while the computer does the rest of the field. I learned chickens are... Oh, well, you'd think that people in a little farming town would know to watch out if a tractor's pulling onto the road. But back to chickens. I learned chickens are quite profitable. If I hadn't started with silage, I think that starting with chickens is a really good idea with a lot of the farms. They're very easy. You don't need anything besides a grain, so it's something that as long as you have a field you can harvest early on, you can start with egg production. I went with silage because the equipment to start is not terribly expensive. A harvester for a big field costs $500,000 by the time you're all said and done, whereas silage you can get a baler wrapper combo. This one is $100,000, and you just need a tractor, mowers, and a windrow. So you can get into it for half the price of harvesting a big barley field or similar. It's just a lot more tedious. With chickens and a big field, you can do it in 2 months of game time. One is harvest, one is seeding, and sort of let it run. With the silage, you're harvesting 3 times a year, so it takes a little bit more time, but you do make a little bit more money. I just think the chickens are more entertaining, so it's definitely something to look into in a first farm. Right now I'm baling in 125 centimeter bale size, which is not the fastest, but what it does do is allow me to create nice ratios for TMR for the cows. It's with the till behind TMR mixers, you're limited by the size of the mixer. So the easiest way for me is to do 2 silage bales in the 150 centimeter bales, 1 hay bale in the 150 centimeter bales, and then 1 straw bale in the 125. Straw just gets so many more liters per volume of bale than the other 2 options, so it throws off all the ratios. The other thing to consider in my case is that hay and silage are essentially worth the same because I'm producing it on my own. So it doesn't matter if I use silage or hay in the higher ratio amounts. I'm choosing silage because it's a little bit quicker. You don't have to do the tedding step. And then if there is extra silage left over, because I'll be producing more silage, it gives me something to sell. I think, and I haven't done the math on it, I think it's actually more profitable to do all silage and sell it and buy the ingredients. But I just want to be able to produce everything within my fields on my farm and not have to purchase any of the ingredients for the TMR. I'm going to take over the combine here for just a quick second and get that spot that we missed. But the AI should be able to finish out the rest of this field without any issues. I was worried that in the corner to our left, where it goes in at an angle, that the AI would have some troubles. But with the headland done, just the one row, it doesn't really miss anything. I'll still go and check at the end, but it seems to handle that corner much better than I anticipated. This is my only field that is not perfectly square, which I've done on purpose. I do like utilizing the workers. It lets me kind of do other projects at the same time and progress through the game in a faster real-world time. That's always something I'm trying to balance when I'm playing, is the in-game time versus real-world time. There are a lot of things that are more efficient in-game time that just take so much longer, so I don't value them as much, which is, it's just a different way of playing, so I could see it being fun trying to maximize your farm in the fewest number of in-game years. But it's funny though, because that could equate to many, many more hours of playtime, and for a lot of people, I know that the hours of playtime available is really the limiting factor in running a farm here on Farm Simulator. Along those lines, the remainder of this field is going to be the same pattern here, so we'll let the AI get running, and I think we're going to fast forward through the rest of the field. It's all the same process, and running the baler here is the same as running the baler in our previous episode. I also asked in our last episode what you all think of these fast forward sequences. Do you enjoy them? In this case, I sort of enjoy being able to see the baling following the combine. You'll get to see that I end up picking up all the bales and dropping them off, and just sort of these repetitive tasks that are happening. But if you'd prefer I cut to the end and just sort of move to the next action or next new sequence, I'm absolutely willing to do that. Just let me know what you all find entertaining, what you'd prefer to see me do, and I can definitely adapt and change for future episodes. The next step on this field is one of those parts where I'm not sure if the in-game benefits balance the real-world time that is required to do it. We're going to get everything put away and then start mulching the field. I think with 2 mulchers, this would be pretty fast. The machine itself moves pretty quickly, but it just has such a small working width that it takes a fair bit of time. In my case specifically, I would have to make sure that I still produce enough yield that I can accomplish everything I want to on these fields if I didn't mulch. If I can, then I definitely don't think it's worth the time to do it. But I might have to. We'll just get the computer running on it, and then we follow up with the line. I was a little late this time. If I would have thought ahead, I could have pulled bales from the first side where the mulcher was and got the mulcher running while I finished picking everything up. And that'd give it a little bit of a head start. As it is now, I just have to wait. In the meantime, I'm going to go pick up some lime. I'm going to try and get a little bit of extra, and hopefully I'll have enough that I won't have to run back to the shop when I'm cutting and baling the grass next. I'm also going to have plenty of time to get back, so I'm going to run the truck, the pickup, back to the shop and get some repairs done on that as well. I noticed that it was looking a bit rugged. One of these days I should paint it, but I kind of like that it's a work truck and it's got plenty of dings on it. I don't think the mulcher is far enough ahead for our liming, but we'll give it a few passes and see how quickly we catch up to it. I do like the visual change in a mulched field, though. It looks like it's a fully harvested and processed field. It makes it look like we're really taking care of the land and making sure our crop's not going to waste. I know before the precision farming DLC that mulching added a fertilized state, which was nice, but now we don't need 2 stages of fertilizing anyway, so it's just a small yield bonus that it provides. These fields for me, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I know that these fields are just enough for me to not have to add another grain to my farm. And I'll have to go back and do the math and see what the yield bonus for the mulching is, but I think it's really, really small. So I might be able to get away without mulching these fields. In a normal year, this would be the last step on the barley. This year, I think we might have enough money. I will have to take out a small loan to make it happen. But I think we'll have enough money to actually add our grain mill. So once we catch up with the line, I'll pull off to the side and let the mulcher run, and we'll work on that project. I have been able to add one pretty big expansion every year so far. I did skip 1 year, the year before I added the barley fields, because I knew the harvester and all of that equipment was going to cost so much money. But it's nice that I'm able to see progress every year. Like I said, this year will be the grain mill, and next year I'm hoping we'll be able to add cattle. I don't think we'll be able to afford all of the productions that go along with it. So there's probably 2 or 3 more years left on this playthrough. But we're getting close, and as I run the farm every year, the harvests go more quickly, and I'm able to expand more quickly, and we add more money. more profit every year, so we can add bigger expansions and get out of our debts and really push the farm to be what we want it to be. I think the grain mill will be next episode. So for now, thanks again for visiting Kann Farms, and I hope to see you next time.